Sunday, we return to our journey, our 7-week journey to prosperity. It's called Yes, yay. It's a Sacred Abundance. It's a program that was developed by Reverend Robin Ryder, one of my colleagues. I mentioned before that we were in seminary together. And it's such a delight to be doing this program for you. I'm greatly inspired by her respect, her ideas, and the way that she delivers those. She's all over the place. How many of you see her on Facebook? And I think she's at the Unity of Indianapolis today or something like that. But just to do a quick review, because some of you may be joining us for the first time, and we're on the third part today. So I don't want to leave anyone behind. One of the good news is on Facebook. We have my complete, he's doing it again. The sermon from the first part and the second part. Alfredo here, who is filming me right now, and I'm going to get all self-conscious. He's been posting it. Isn't that great? And I've been trying to send it out to you by email, too, with our update. So, I lost my track of mine, Alfredo. So anyway, what this series is doing is giving us 7 prosperity principles that if we can learn them, that's the first step. But more importantly, learn how to apply them, live them in our lives. They will lead us into the prosperous life that we all desire. And as we know, prosperity isn't just about finances, so that is a part of it. Prosperity is when you can look at your life and you see health and wealth and peace of mind and heart and harmonious relationships, all those good things that we've been promised, that kingdom of heaven on earth, right here and right now. So the first lesson, the first principle that we were given, anybody remember what it was?
First thing first.
First things first. And what's first things first?
God.
Putting God first in our lives. And really looking at what that means. How does that show up for us? We focused on 3 areas in particular. The areas of guidance. How do you make the decisions that affect your life? How do you make the choices? How do you come up with that strategic plan for your life? Is God, is Spirit, universe, whatever name you want to give it, is that the driving, the leading force? One of the things I like from that first lesson is Robin mentioned something about people saying, well, I always have God as my co-pilot. And she said, what? Your co-pilot shouldn't, let's have the universe be the pilot and lead the way. So that's one way. Another was through gratitude. What is your practice of gratitude? How does that show up in your life? Do you just give thanks when something good has already happened? Or is it bigger than that? A lot of the masters teach that the only prayer that we really need to have, always in our consciousness, always in our hearts, is that prayer of thanksgiving. That prayer of gratitude in all the circumstances of your life. The good, the bad, and the ugly, as I like to say. So, are you there yet? Can you say, thank you, God, for this headache? No? Oh, good. Good. And then the third is giving. That was a big part of the first lesson. And it, again, isn't just about finances, but certainly that's what we're called to look at in that area, as well as giving of our time, our talent. Is God priority in your life? Or is it when you get around to it? Do you have a spiritual practice that you make as important as all your other appointments for the day? What place is God taking in your life? And certainly, I'm preaching to the choir, right? Because you're all here on Sunday morning. So that's a good sign, right? But it's giving. Giving of your time, giving of your talent and your gifts, giving of your treasure to your spiritual life. So that was lesson 1. And that to me is the most important. Seek after God, seek after that righteousness, and all other good things will follow. So if you just spend 7 weeks focusing on that, you're on the right track. But then we had the second lesson, the bumblebee principle. Anybody remember what that was about? What was the bumblebee principle?
God, all things are possible.
Yeah. Did people hear that? With God, all things are possible. I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but the bumblebee is not supposed to be able to fly scientifically. But does the bumblebee know that? And where do you limit yourself in your belief system? What are the things that you currently feel are impossible for you? That's what we want you to take on in this program, to start to consider, be willing to think differently, to believe differently, to start to look at things that formerly you say, that's not possible in my life to do. And to start to say, yes, with God, with the energies of the universe, all things are possible to me. So that's where we're at. You guys been working that stuff?
Yes.
How's it showing up?
Good.
Does anybody have anything impossible happen? No? I'm going to have a good news report from someone before the end of this day. I know good things are happening. So we're now to the third lesson, the third principle of prosperity. And this is one, I really know I'm going to be doing a review for you folks, because I've spent a lot of time on this. This is titled what?
The universe.
The universe listens. The universe listens. This is all about the law of mind action, the third core belief of unity. Thoughts and feelings held in mind produce after their kind. Have you heard that before? Mm-hmm. The law of attraction, like begets like. You're familiar with this stuff, right? Yes. The stuff I'm always preaching at you, your prayers are your thoughts, your thoughts, your feelings, your words, and your actions. Not the thing that you do for 5 minutes in the morning. It's what you're thinking and feeling and talking about and experiencing and doing throughout the day, which is the message that you're putting out to the universe that you want in return. So does this sound familiar? Mm-hmm. Well, I love Robin's work on this because she gives it, she brings some freshness to it and some new ways of looking at it. And I want to start with a story that she told that is quite wonderful to get us started. She talks about John and Melissa, who were these young college students who decided that they were going to live together. Now, John was kind of nervous about doing this because he had a mom who was pretty traditional in her point of view, didn't believe that folks should live together before they were married. But they decided, Melissa and John, to do it anyway. And what John decided to tell his mom was that it was for financial reasons. That they were just really good friends, that they were just roommates, and they were doing this so that finances would be easier in their lives. I mean, they were both poor, starving college students, that kind of thing. And by getting together, they could split their expenses. Made perfect sense, right? Well, Mom, what do you think? Had her suspicions, as moms often do. And throughout the 6 months, anytime she would talk to John on the phone, she would just listen to how he was talking about Melissa. And she even questioned him about it a couple times, but he stuck with his story. Mom, we're just good friends, Mom. We're just roommates. We're doing this for financial reasons. So John and Melissa decided one night to have Mom come over for dinner. And all throughout that dinner, Mom was paying real close attention to John and Melissa. She was noticing the looks that exchanged between them. She was picking up on that energy, And she could see what was really going on. And John was looking at his mom and seeing that she was kind of getting a little more suspicious. And he saw that look on his mother's face, and he said, Mom, I know what you're thinking, but I'm telling you, we're just roommates, we're just good friends. And Mom says, and I know, you're doing this to save money. So about a week later, they were getting ready for another dinner party with some friends. And Melissa says, John, have you seen that really beautiful sterling silver soup ladle? I wanted to serve the soup with it for our guests. And I can't find it anywhere. And he said, well, when was the last time that you saw it? And she said, I think it was when your mom was here. It was. And as a matter of fact, I haven't seen it since. You don't think she would have taken it? I can't imagine, he said. But I'll just drop her a little note. Maybe she put it somewhere.